give you your June 2014 webinar, which we're really excited about, email follow-up campaigns. And this is really part of a series where we started last month talking about landing pages and offers and reports, and we wanted to have this month be about those follow-up campaigns that you should have behind those campaigns. So like if you have a book, you should have a follow-up campaign. If you have a contact form, and everybody's got a contact form, you should have a follow-up campaign. And so Danielle has done some great research based on what our clients do and what other successful businesses do on creating these follow-up campaigns. And I went through these slides a little while ago and was very impressed with what she's come up with. So this is a great instructional webinar that will really help you with your follow-up campaigns. And we had a great attendance on the last call, and looks like we're going to have great attendance on this call. So thanks everybody for joining us. And of course, if you missed the last one, where can they go? FWM webinar. What is the link?
We'll send out a link. The link is in this presentation to the previous webinar, and when we send out the notes, we'll include a link to it as well.
Yeah. So if you missed the last one, you can catch up on that. And it's really all about, you know, making sure that you get every opportunity of conversion to your website. And then, because everybody always thinks that, hey, if they don't contact me right away, it's no good. But that's the wrong approach, and that's certainly not what we teach and what Great Legal Marketing teaches, and Ben Glass and all the coaching members and everything that you know. And if you use Infusionsoft, you can use a lot of these philosophies in your Infusionsoft, or if you use the DSS CRM or Constant Contact, whatever you're using for your CRM, your follow-up campaigns, you can learn from this. Okay, so Danielle, let's go ahead and get started. Talk to me about what we're going to learn today on the webinar.
All right, so today you're going to learn about how to get real contact information from these folks that you want to market to, because of course actually having contact info is going to be your first step. Then we're going to talk about how to deliver the offer. You'd be surprised how many people mess this up and make it hard for people to actually get the information they think that they requested. So pay attention here. The third thing you're going to learn is the essential steps in your email campaign. We have about 6 or 7 emails we've outlined, and this will really give you some ideas on the types of emails that you can send as a part of your campaign. We're also going to talk about branding and consistency, and then timing your email campaigns. This can be a real challenge for a lot of businesses, trying to figure out when to send messages and how many to send, so we'll give you some tips there. And then, go ahead.
Real quick, I mean, you really want to pay attention to the timing, because if you've got multiple books, you don't want to, you really have to pay attention to your sequence, because you don't want to annoy people that have contacted you. So it's very important that you pay attention to the timing. I think that like last year we did some research ourselves on what we were doing, and we were sending some clients 6 emails a day, and it was probably annoying. So don't annoy those people that you work so hard to get into your system.
Right. Then we're also going to talk about how you get people to actually open your emails. It's great if you craft this wonderful campaign, but you actually need people to open the emails. Then, of course, once they open them, you want them to click on the links, and you want to track those clicks. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then we'll talk about some success metrics. How do you know if your email campaigns are working? All right, let's get started. So the very beginning of your email campaign is how do you get contact information so that you can actually create an email follow-up campaign? Well, this chart is from the last month's webinar when we shared with you how over 80,000 people contacted some of our websites last year. So you can see a breakdown of how people contact law firms online. And this gives you an idea of the different ways that you may get contact information. And you really should be setting up an email campaign for each type of contact. So you can have offer downloads. You may have a couple of different offers. You may have people calling your firm, and you have the option to put them into your contact system and create a campaign for them. You have live chats. You have your main contact form. You have newsletter requests. So people are coming to you in a variety of different ways. And once you get that contact information, that's now an opportunity to continue to market to them. So be thinking about whether or not you're taking advantage of all these different leads that are coming in from your website. And last month we shared with you that we see 35% of all contacts coming in as people requesting free offers on these websites. So this just goes to show this is the #1 way that people contact sites. So you really, if you don't have an offer, you need to have one. And I've included a link here to our last month's webinar, Offers and Landing Pages That Convert. And if you haven't watched it yet, I definitely encourage you to do that. That will give you some ideas on offers that attract folks and actually get the most contact information. So definitely check that out. It's also got tips on how to create a good landing page. So that's kind of a prerequisite to what we're talking about here. All right. So what makes an offer? We're really focusing on campaigns for offers here in this webinar, but you can create a campaign for any type of contact. But we're just going to focus on offers just to make the conversation easy. So you may have a book on your website. You may have a bumper sticker, a checklist, a white paper, a coloring book, anything like that. And you want to make sure that you have a targeted campaign associated with each offer that you're doing. So now, how do you get real contact information? One challenge you may find if you start putting free offers up on your website is that people will give you bogus contact information. So how do you get them to give you a way that you can actually reach out to them again? The first tip we have for you is make sure that you're requiring a valid email address to send your offer. So what you want to do is send them an email with a link to the offer or a PDF version if it's a book. And don't just make the offer available on a thank you page. You'll see this sometimes when you request something that can be downloaded. Once you enter your contact information, they display the link on the next page, and you don't actually have to have given them any valid information because they just give you the link once you fill out the form. Make sure you're not doing that. Take a look at how you're delivering your offers right now, and make sure that you're requiring a valid email address so that you can send them the information. This is kind of a trade you're making with the person filling out your contact form. The other thing that you can do is use the second chance form, and we talk about this in last month's webinar, where you can only ask them for their name and their email address up front, and then you can offer to send them a physical copy of your book or report. So that's a way to try to get both types of information from them, so you're not just relying on their email. You actually have their mailing address to continue to market to them as well.
And I still see this a lot where they just give them the PDF on the thank you page,
right.
And that's the point here is that you gotta have a little, gotta get something to give, and so you got to get their email address, and by doing this, it gets sent to their email instead of just going to that thank you. You can remind them on the thank you page that that's what's happening.
Right.
And we've seen the second chance stuff work. Doesn't work for everything, but it gets you the immediate information, which is name and email, and then if they want more. And what do you, I mean, the best way to do that is like just a sample chapter.
Right, that's one thing that you can do. If you have a real print book, and there are some of you out there, we know that right now you're actually offering print-only books on your website, so you need their mailing address. But trying to get somebody who doesn't know you to give you their mailing address can be a barrier to getting their contact information. So one of the things that you can do is create either a summary or a sample chapter of your book and save it as a PDF, and you can offer them that PDF version for the email, and then say, hey, if you like the summary, come back and give me your mailing address, and then I'll send you a physical copy of the book. And once people get that initial summary chapter or the summary of the offer, they may be willing to give you more information because you've proven that you're trustworthy by giving them something for their contact information.
And if you need help if you're a client of ours and you need help getting that set up in DSS, we're Karen and Customer Services.
Karen and Kyle are there to help you.
Here to help you.
All right, so the first thing that you need to do, so you've gotten somebody's contact information, now you actually need to deliver the offer. You may not think that this is part of creating a campaign, but it's actually the very first step. It's your first interaction with the person other than them filling out the form on your website, and this is an opportunity for you to build trust by making it easy for them to get what they asked for. And this may seem blindingly obvious, but it has happened to me several times where I've gone to a site and I've ordered something or requested something, and it's very confusing as to how it will be delivered, or it never gets delivered at all. And then that makes me think that the people I ordered it from don't know what they're doing. So it affects the trust that I have in that particular merchant or that business. So make sure, all of you, if you have offers on your website, go to your site and order everything that you offer to make sure that your forms work and make sure that it's easy for the person to get what they're asking for. This is a critical step in building trust at the very beginning of your email campaign.
That's so true. And you know, you guys are lawyers and doctors, or you're working for lawyers and doctors and helping them with their marketing. It's going to be an example of your work if you do a sloppy job in your marketing, then you're probably going to do a sloppy job being an attorney or being a doctor. Who wants to do that? So this is very important, and we see it happen all the time where clients just build the offer, or they just throw up a book with a hard copy, a picture of the book, and that's it, in a form. And that's all that you're using to establish trust for people that are really in need, and they're looking for, they're comparing you to other people. And so you want to make sure that you do your very best. This is your first impression. And so you want to make sure that you do a great job there. And the thing is, too, that you need to look at this, because it's something you might have set up back in 2009, and it might not be relevant anymore, or it might be giving erroneous information or wrong information, just like content on your website. We talked about doing content audits a couple months ago. So anyway, this is really important, guys. Good point, Danielle.
All right, so here are some tips to make sure that you do a good job of delivering the offer and meeting or exceeding the visitor's expectations. What you want to do is make it very, very easy. You want to describe on the offer page, so on that landing page with the offer form, describe how the offer will be delivered. Now, this may seem too dumb for you, like why would I do that? But this makes, again, it's another trust thing for users. If you explain exactly what's going to happen after they've handed over their precious contact information, they may be more willing to trust you with their email or with their address. So some examples here, you tell them, fill out this form and we'll immediately send you a copy of the book to the email address you provide. That tells the user, oh, I'm going to get, first of all, immediate gratification. I'll get the book right away. And I need to give a valid email because they're going to send it to my email. I can't use that fake email I do when I'm online sometimes. So this is, again, there's a purpose behind these words we're using here. The second example here, fill out the form and in 7 to 10 days you'll receive a bumper sticker in the mail to the address you provide. So if you have something physical, a bumper sticker, an accident kit, or a physical book that you need to mail, tell them how long it will take. Again, you're setting expectations and you're letting them know you need valid information and it's going to take some time to get there, so they're not disappointed in 3 days if it hasn't shown up. You set expectations and you build trust.
Good.
And I put this example here. Those of you who are on the webinar probably came through this webinar registration page, and we actually changed how we do the webinar registration this month to make it a little easier. It used to be a 2-step process, and we changed it to a 1-step process. So what we did is you can see down here on this page, and you probably saw this, there's a box and it says important. After you click the sign up button, you'll receive an email from us with the GoToWebinar details. So we're telling you what happens. You give us your contact info, we're going to send you something. So we're trying to make it very clear. Again, we changed how we do things, so we wanted to make it obvious. And we also add down here that we're going to send you some other information. So if you've never contacted Foster Web Marketing before, you may not know that we like to send out our marketing emails, right, Tom? We have our weekly emails. And so we're letting you know, hey, by the way, we're going to send you some other things. And again, that just prompts the users to expect more from you, so it's not a surprise.
And once again, yeah, you want to tell them over and over again. Make it very kindergarten friendly, like you're talking to your kids. Sometimes you have to say it over and over again in different ways so they get the point. And for something as important as this, you have to look at each one of these leads or each opportunity. You've paid for traffic coming to your website in whatever form. Maybe you've paid somebody to write content or your own time, and your time is money, to add content to attract people to your website. This is the conversion part of it. And so you want to make sure that everything that you've done to get them to this point works. And so you don't want to fail at the end. I mean, like, this is the critical thing. So tell them over and over again what to expect. Once again, as Danielle said, you're building trust, and you're going to follow through with what you say. And so when you do that, they'll be able to trust you more. And so when they actually meet you and talk to you and stuff like that, wow, I mean, like, you just delivered everything like that you said you were going to when you said you were going to do it. That must be how my case or my operation or whatever you're doing will go. So
yeah, that's important. Think about this as every step you have in your marketing process is you're trying to have a conversation and build a relationship. You know, this is relationship marketing. This is nurturing your leads. So you want to take care of them every step of the way and make it easy. So, okay, so they've requested, they've given you their contact information, and then they're going to go to the thank you page on your website. And what you want to do is describe what's going to happen now. They've given you the information. So here in my example, hey, we've sent a PDF copy of the book to the email address you provided. Another reminder that I'm sending it to that email you just gave me. If you don't see it in the next 5 to 10 minutes, please check your junk or spam folders. So this should be obvious. Most of us know that when you fill out a form on a website, it'll usually go to your spam. But we want them to go looking for this email. We give them a time frame, and we tell them to go hunt it down. What we also want them to do is add our email. So whatever email you use to send out your offers and send out your campaigns, ask the person to whitelist your email. That means future emails won't go into that junk or spam folder. So here, they're working with you. They want that offer. They're more likely to do it right now when you're asking them to. So make sure you include all this information on that thank you page.
What about like adding the subject of the email here? Say, look for this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Subject.
Yep.
And yeah, you got add this name, but the subject of the email will be coming from this email address, this person, and that's once again establishing that bond already. Like you're building the relationship here. Now, in this example, we're doing a PDF copy of the book. Now, if they're ordering a hard copy, you would have a different explanation there. Or if they were doing a second chance form, that's on that second chance thank you page. The PDF or the chapter examples coming your way. If you want the hard copy, that's where the bigger form can come into play on this piece of it. Okay, so what's this here? We're delivering the offer still, and this is the email that they're getting.
Right. So part of delivering your email is to send them a thank you email with the offer. And you're going to send it just as you described. So your subject line, make it clear that this is the offer they requested. Don't get cutesy with the subject. Here is the 10 things book that you ordered. Make it very obvious. The email copy, thank them for ordering your offer, and make sure that you include the offer as an attachment to that email or as a link. Some email systems will let you put a link on your website to download the PDF, so either way is good. And then, again, fair warning. Let them know that in the email that you're going to continue to send them marketing information. Of course, you will have an unsubscribe because you're going to be following good email practices, but you want to give them some warning so they can expect to hear more from you.
And you can also put like maybe a little summary of what they can expect, and just like you have on the landing page of the report itself, a reminder of what they're going to get or what they're going to read or what's coming their way to keep them excited. And once again, you need to always keep brand consistency throughout. So make sure that the colors are the same. We talk about that? Okay, good. And that the voice is the same. Don't go changing the way that you're talking about something, tripping somebody up. Remember, kindergarten friendly, talk to them like they're your kids.
All right, so the next thing, there are a variety of different emails that you can send out as part of your campaign. So I have 7 outlined here, and we already talked about number 1, which is your very first email, that thank you email. You want to keep it short and sweet and give them what you told them you were going to give them. Now there are 6 other types of emails that you can do, and we're going to walk through each one individually and explain what we mean and give you some examples. So let's go ahead and start with the checking in email. So probably 2 to 3 days after the person received your offer, or if you were mailing a book, make sure you allow time for the mail to get to where they are. Send a checking in email. What you're doing here is you're opening up a conversation. Ask them if they received the offer. Have they had a chance to read it or use it? Do they have any questions? You want to try to start a conversation with them. You want to make yourself accessible. Put your contact information right there in the email. Hey, if you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you. Or here's the email for our customer support or my front desk person. They'd love to help you out. However the best way is to contact your business. Make sure that's clear and obvious right there, a phone number and an email. And ask for feedback. We'd love to know what you think. Was the information helpful? Again, you're trying to engage them in a dialogue and trying to get them to reach back out to you. And then you can also suggest sharing. You can put share buttons into your email, and if somebody found your offer helpful, maybe they'll be willing to share it with their friends, either forward the offer on or share it on social media. So encourage them, again, start a dialogue and encourage them to share.
Danielle, should this be like a big long email or a short email?
Should it be War and Peace? Nope, short and sweet. And there's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, people are overwhelmed, and you are trying to market to them, so you don't need to take up too much of their time. They're just not going to give it to you. Number 2, really long emails can actually trigger spam filters. So you want to keep it short and sweet. So 2 reasons: the psychology of users, they don't want to read a long email, they don't have the time, and you don't want to trigger the spam filters. All right, so another type of email that you can send as part of your campaign is the building trust email. Because remember, we said what you're doing with this campaign is you're trying to establish a relationship and build trust with these individuals. And the purpose of this email is to reduce risk. Remember that people they don't want to be pioneers, most people. some of us do, but they don't want to be the first one to try your law firm or try your services. You want to show them that other people have gone before them. Other people have used your services, and they've been very happy with it. You want to show them what success looks like, and you want to describe what you can do for them using the voices of other people. People trust other people. That's why reviews are so powerful. They want to read what other users have gone through. So what you can put in these building trust emails, you can put testimonials from people in similar situations. So again, it should be a testimonial relevant to that offer. So let's say you had a book about heel pain, or you have a book about motorcycle accidents. The testimonial should be directly relevant to that offer. You can also include success stories or a case study. So an example, tell a story of somebody that you helped with a motorcycle accident or somebody you helped with heel pain. If you can, include a picture, personal details, make it very personal. Make it the person feel like they're really reading something they can relate to. You can also include reviews. If people have reviewed your services online, you could include that. You could even put a little image with some stars and a picture of the person. However you can dress it up to make it look good and make it look like you're trustworthy. All right, another type of email that you can send is the questions to ask email. So this is an opportunity to play up your strengths. So when you're telling people, here's some questions you can ask about this type of service, you want to ask them questions that will make you look good. You also want to have them ask questions that may capitalize on your competitors' weaknesses. For example, if you know that the law firm down the road will never go to trial, or they always go to trial, or something, or they tend to settle quickly because they're a churn and burn, have people ask questions that will get that kind of answer out of your competitors. So really think about your competitor's weakness and create a question that, if asked, would show the competitor to be less worthy of your business than you are.
And be careful about that. I mean, if it's against the law to, do ambulance chasing, and you have competitors that are doing that and visiting people in the hospital beds and all that stuff, and you're not allowed to do it where you are, but you got competitors doing it, you can point that out to them. Say, if they're going to do that to get your business, what are they going to do for your case? I mean, there's all kinds of examples of how you can show the weakness of your competitors and illustrate how much better you are, and do it tastefully.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind is some patients or clients get frustrated if they're going to the doctor and they always have to see the physician's assistant, or if they see a different doctor each time. And if you pride yourself on the individuals always coming in and seeing the same person, you can say, ask this question, because that will make you look good, and it will put that seed of doubt in the user's mind, so they'll ask the question. It's the same thing with a law firm. If you know that people get frustrated because that firm down the road only uses paralegals, or again, they rotate through the attorneys, and people find that frustrating, make that one of your questions so that they're more inclined to now trust you.
And here's another a little point. When should this be used in a sequence, right? I mean, this is probably good to be used a little bit later on in the sequence because, well, it depends. Because, all right, when someone contacts you on your website, they're contacting probably 3 or 4 to 5 other law firms, the same way. And let's just assume that you're the only one that has an offer, and they've clicked on your offer. They might have talked to somebody over there. They might have even signed up with another law firm that was more aggressive or did whatever. But that's the point of questions to ask. You can even say that. Maybe you've already signed up with another law firm. You should ask these questions.
Right, and I gave a couple examples here. Again, you're presenting this information as something helpful to them. You're not marketing yourself. I'm just telling you, when you write the questions, think about how you can make it work for you. So, for example, don't hire anybody until you ask these 3 key questions. That will make them think, oh, wait, I should ask everybody I'm talking to these questions. Yeah. What about not sure if you need a lawyer or a doctor? Here are 5 things to consider. And then I love this one, the one question that everybody forgets to ask. I always want to read what those are. None of us like to think we don't know what's going on.
Okay.
All right, the related info email. Again, this goes back to our core philosophy, which is education-based marketing. If you give people great information and show them that you are a subject matter expert, they are more likely to trust you. So what you want to do in this type of email is provide links to related offers or relevant content on your site in this email. So again, if somebody ordered a book on heel pain, or they ordered that book on motorcycle accidents, you want to give them links to additional information on your website relevant to that offer. And you can provide maybe 3 to 5 links. Frequently asked questions are a great one, because a lot of people have similar questions, and that's how you can phrase it. You also want to keep your users engaged. And you do this by sending them back to your website. Don't make the mistake of putting everything in the email. We've seen people do this. They'll put all the relevant information or all the additional questions right there in the email. All the person has to do is read it and close it, and off they go. Your goal here is always to drive them back to your website with any of these emails. Make sure you have additional information back on the site. The great thing, this is good for two reasons. Number one, you're sending them back to your website, which is a return visitor, which looks good to the search engines. And number two, you're keeping them engaged. They're going back to their site, and we have found time and time again that when our clients or ourselves, when we send people back to the website through an email campaign or through a newsletter, those people are more engaged. They spend more time on your website, and they visit more pages. Why? Because you've already established a relationship with them. They already trust you. So you want to leverage that and keep sending them back to your website. Keep reminding them of why they found you in the first place, because they trust you and they trust your expertise.
Very good. That is, we see that all the time where clients stick too much to the whole story in the email. And this is one of the best ways to just get return visits, which sends signals to Google that people like your stuff. And so, you know, anything that you can do to send them back to your website is great.
All right, the choice is yours email. So, you know, at some point you got to end your email campaign. It can't go on forever. Well, I suppose it could, but at some point we encourage you to end it. And to do that, here's a couple tips. What you can do in this email at the end of your campaign, you can congratulate the reader for taking charge of their situation and doing their research. Make them feel good about themselves and make them feel good about their choice to contact you and read all your darn emails. You also want to put the ball back in their court. So hey, say, hey, you've done a great job. You've gotten all this good information. This is going to help you going forward. Now the choice is yours. You can contact me to help you. You can contact us for help with whatever the offer type is, but it's up to you. So you make them feel empowered, but you tell them what you want them to do, which is contact you for the business.
Good.
And then we have a little extra one here, which is the breaking news email. Now, this is not going to be part of your standard sequence, so when you go ahead and set your sequence up ahead of time, this would not be part of it. I'm adding this because I want you to take advantage of breaking news for your list. This is something a little different. So again, let's say you have that book on heel pain, or you have a book on a certain type of medical device, or you have a book about motorcycle accidents or truck accidents. If there's a hot story that's local or national news related to one of your offers, you can create an extra step in your campaign and get that information out right away to your list. Why do you want to do this? Because timely information increases open rates. If you're talking about something that's on the news, either locally or nationally, people are going to be more likely to open that email and read it and click on those links back to your site for more information. Why? Because they're hearing about it everywhere else and they're hungry for information. That's why you take advantage of breaking news. And always, you want to relate that news back to what it is that you do. So I gave you some examples. If the FDA approves a new medical device to help with a certain medical condition you treat, you can talk about that and how you would use that information or give your perspective on that news. You could also talk about a celebrity who was critically injured in a truck wreck. We recently had Tracy Morgan, who was injured in a crash, and one person died. It was terrible. And what did they find out was a Walmart driver who was commuting from Georgia to Jersey for work. He was commuting several states away for his job and hadn't slept in a long time. That really goes back to driver fatigue and the rules about that truck companies follow. So you could really give your spin on that related to this celebrity case, and that might be something that people would find interesting. And again, you're tying that back to what it is that you do and what it is that you're good at.
Okay, but let me just make a clarification here. This is not part of like an automated campaign, because obviously
right. Yeah, that's
this
what
would
I
be
said.
something that
yeah.
you just send
It's
on.
a one-off.
Right.
You take advantage, and this is something that'll take practice. You got to take advantage of the news when it breaks. You got to get it out right away. So that day, the next day, get that. If you can pull a campaign, right, a quick email together with a page back on your website, that's how you take advantage of it. Don't wait a week, because by then things will have died down. You know, try this a few times and see if you get better engagement.
Yeah, I mean, like, and this is where we see our clients getting the best cases. I mean, this is where the biggest and the best cases come from, by attaching yourself to breaking news and being relevant. If you're just sitting there, if you're still just trying to be on page one for Virginia personal injury attorney, then you're just in the dark ages. I mean, breaking news is where you get the cases. So if you're looking, what everybody always wants to know is what do I need to do? And we see time and time again that just attaching yourself to breaking news, it doesn't work every time, but you're going to get cases when you talk about what people are interested in. It's a good one.
All right, so here it is,
Yeah,
branding and
yeah, okay,
consistency.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember that you've got these folks' contact information because they found you online, especially if you're doing inbound marketing and you're having people come to your website and fill out a form or request your offer. They've seen your website. They've seen the colors that you use. They've seen your logo. They've seen your call to action. They're familiar. You want to capitalize on that familiarity by making sure that that branding and that consistency follows through to your email campaigns. So use the same voice in your emails. Make sure you have your logo, the same colors. You know, be consistent with your email so that people, when they see your email and they open it up, that they remember being in your website and it's familiar to them. That's why you want consistency, because of the familiarity and that trust that you're trying to build. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So here's just a sample email campaign timing. There's no set in stone way to do this. And the next slide we're going to talk about how to try to figure out the best way to determine your own timing. But here's an example. So on 0 days, which of course is as soon as the person fills out the form, that's when you send that thank you email with the offer. You do that right away. And then like I said earlier, in about 2 to 3 days, you send that checking in email where you're asking them how it was and you're trying to start a dialogue. And then possibly 5 days after they order it, you could send them some more related info. Hey, if you like that book on motorcycle accidents, you might find these people who often have these questions. So include 3 to 5 FAQs. Then maybe 10 days after, here's some questions you can ask if you were injured in a motorcycle accident, or here's things to consider before hiring an attorney or finding a doctor. And then at 20 days, so 10 more days after that last email, and as you can see, I'm pulling the time out a little bit more. You can do the building trust email. Share what you do with some case studies, some reviews, and testimonials. Then maybe send another email with related information, then maybe another building trust, or mixing up these different types of emails. Now there's no rules here. There's nothing set in stone. This is just a suggestion and to get you thinking about how you can use these different types of emails and the kind of timing. And then ultimately at some point you're going to do the choice is yours email and close out that campaign.
Yep, and then of course you can start another campaign a year later, say, hey, where you been, or, you know,
we've rewritten the book, or
right,
we have more
exactly.
information. Right.
You can hit them again. And at any point in time, they could be hiring you during these sequences. And so that's the other thing, too, is you need to know when to turn these off. So if you've got somebody and they become a client at sequence 3, turn them off from their automatic campaign. You don't want to.
Very true. So when you're trying to determine timing for your own offers, you want to think about what's the decision time frame for those types of clients. So if you have a person who's requesting a book on motorcycle accidents or heel pain or some kind of medical device, how long do those folks usually take to make a decision? And you should have an idea of this from working with these types of folks before. So you may know that if people contact your office after a very serious accident, maybe they're trying to make a decision quickly because there's so much going on. You know that if you're a DUI lawyer, people are going to make a decision very fast because there's a lot of issues they need to deal with right away. Now, there's different types of doctors and different types of law firms where they may have a longer decision time. And that's when you want to have a longer campaign and you want to do more emails, but really spread them out because you know it's going to take that person sometimes a month, 2 months, maybe even 6 months or a year. We even have folks who take 4 years to make a decision to build a website with us.
Some of you might be on this call.
We'll get you eventually. So again, think about how long it typically takes people to hire someone for that type of business and make your campaign about that long and spread the emails out over that time frame.
Yep.
All right, so we've talked about planning your campaign. You've got this great campaign going, and you're going to send out all these awesome emails. But how do you get people to actually open the mail? Let's talk about some ways to do that. All right, so the first thing in getting your emails open is to avoid the dreaded spam filters. You want your email to actually get delivered and delivered to the inbox if at all possible. So here's some ways to make sure that happens. You want to avoid certain words. Now, I read a funny thing on HubSpot. They were saying do the used car salesman test. So if you're using language that you think a used car salesman would say, don't put that in your email subject line. So for example, And again, this is in the email subject. Don't say help, no obligation, reminder, free, guarantee, hot, click, or percentage off, things like that. Anything that sounds like you're some used car salesman or trickster, don't put that in your subject line. Don't put exclamation points in your subject line. Lots of exclamation points indicate spam, and some filters, if you have a couple other things that might indicate your spam and you have exclamation points, that could trigger the filter. If you have too many images and not enough text, that can be a trigger. You shouldn't use a lot of video or Flash or JavaScript or attachments or forms in your emails the first time you're trying to contact someone, because they may get caught in the filter. You also want to be careful when you're running these campaigns that the email program you're using keeps you from continually sending mail over and over to email addresses that are bouncing, because you can actually get your whole email address blacklisted. So be careful with that. Make sure you're cleaning up the bounces in your email program.
Yeah, that's a great point. And well, what about image? You see too many images, but one good image.
Yes.
Right? One good image. And the other thing, too, is people are going to click crazy on that image. So make sure that that image goes somewhere that's relevant to the image.
All right, a couple other things. Make sure you always have an unsubscribe link in your email. Now, if you're using any kind of email campaign program or software, this should be automatic. We hope you're not sending out emails from your own Outlook desktop or anything like that. Please don't do that. So always have that unsubscribe link and always make sure you're honoring it. Do only send emails to people who opt in to being marketed to from you. Don't buy lists or scrape email addresses or anything like this. That's why we're talking about marketing to the people who've contacted you through your website, and you're letting them know that you're going to continue to market to them. You also want to ask your email recipients to whitelist your email address. That's why we suggested on that thank you page, before you even send your first email, that you ask them to do this to make sure that the email gets to their inbox. You also want to use a familiar sender name. So most mail programs allow you to send on behalf of or sent from, so you can specify who that is. And that can be from the business, from your law firm or your doctor's office, or from somebody in the business that they know. Those of you who are here on the webinar are used to getting emails from Tom Foster. We send all our emails to our list under his name because you're familiar with him. You also want to make sure that you don't write too much. Long copy is actually considered spammy, so don't send out giant emails, giant newsletters. Keep your copy short and to the point. And then I included a link here for those of you nerdy and technically sophisticated users. You can go check out dnsstuff.com tools and click on the email tools tab or scroll down on the page till you get to that section, and they actually have a whole bunch of neat email tools where you can see if you're on any blacklists and things like that. So again, if you're a little more sophisticated, you might want to play around with this. It's pretty neat.
The email, or you brought up the email blacklist. What happens if you get blacklisted? Does someone call you and tell you?
You may find that people at certain domains are not receiving your email, so maybe everybody at AOL with an email address at AOL.com, or everybody with a Gmail address or Hotmail address, they're not getting your mails all of a sudden, and it may be because you are on a blacklist. And this is a very interesting situation. We should do something more on this, because there are companies out there with blacklists, and they will add, if you are suspected of sending out spammy emails or being a spammer, you can end up on these blacklists even though you're just doing email marketing, and you won't know it until you go try to figure out why those folks aren't getting your emails. And you know what? They will charge you money. You can either prove to them that you didn't do anything wrong and wait several days or weeks for them to take you off the list, or you can pay them to take you off the list. We have to do this all the time on behalf of our clients who do end up on blacklists. And you got to spend the money. So you want to be real careful with what you're doing so you don't end up on the blacklist. All right.
Good stuff here.
Okay, so now I've got some examples. So if you want to get your emails opened, you want to use short subject lines. If you look up recommendations for subject lines, you're going to see most people recommend 50 characters or less, or about 6 to 10 words. Why? Because I've given some screenshots here. These are actual examples from my Outlook and my Windows Phone. So you can see how the email looks on a desktop and how it looks on the phone. And you can see there's very little space for that headline. Now, I included these two examples for a reason. I've got the email about this webinar, which came from Tom Foster, and you can see it has a very long subject line. And we actually did that because the folks we're emailing have heard from us before. You know us, and I began with the words, register now for tomorrow's webinar. so I can do a long subject line because if you're interested in the webinar, you're more likely to open this email. So I don't need a short and sweet headline because we know you guys, and if you're sending an email to known individuals, you can have a little more liberty with the length of your subject. Now, Merchant Circle, they're really good at really short headlines, and I gave an example here. They're saying, knock, knock, Hunter, and this is a short headline. Even on the phone, you can see it shows completely. Over there on the right in the pink are the screenshots from my phone. So you can see examples of how, if you have a short headline, they're going to see the entire thing at a glance. Couple other things I want you to notice in these screenshots. You can see on the left the personalized subject line versus the body copy. So in the Tom Foster email, it begins, Dear Danielle. That's actually in the body copy. And that's where we recommend if you're going to include somebody's first name, you do it in the email body copy. Merchant Circle, on the other hand, puts people's names in the subject line. And studies have been done showing that for some reason people find their name in the subject line a little creepy, but they're okay with Dear your name in the email body. So just keep that in mind. You can always try it out, but in general, keep the personalization to the email body copy. The other thing, go back. So the other thing we want you to see is the email preview. So you'll notice on the left, the Tom Foster email, you can actually see the beginning of the email. So when they open this up, they're going to read, Dear Danielle, there are entire books and websites dedicated, blah, blah, blah. You can see the beginning of the email. It gives you a taste as to what you're going to get. This is another opportunity for you to encourage people to open the email and read more. Now, Merchant Circle, whatever they're doing here, you don't see a preview in Outlook. What's interesting is on my phone, I do see the preview. So you know what this tells me? You got to test. When you're testing your email, send a test email out, look at it on tablets, desktops, phones, different email programs. Take a look at what you're doing to make sure that your name, your subject line, and the body copy are coming through in that preview, because this is your only opportunity to get the person to open that email.
Yeah, okay, man. Test, test, test. Always test. Test your links. Don't assume. Test your phone numbers. Test everything all the time. Things break, and they happen to break a lot on the Internet.
I have some examples. All right, so when you send your emails, send it from a known sender. So we've already given you the example of ourselves. We are Foster Web Marketing, so we send everything out through our founder and CEO, Tom Foster. And Merchant Circle, on the other hand, most of us who work with them, you wouldn't know any individuals there, but we all know who Merchant Circle is. It's where you can go to, you can actually set up a local profile there or find local merchants. So they send out emails using their brand name. So that's two ways to do it with a known sender. Now, I've given an example here at the bottom. A bunch of us here on this law firm's email list, and you can see at the lower left, there's just a caret. And it's because when they sent when they set up an infusion, who this email was from, they have quotes around the person's name. So you can see on the right on my phone, I actually saw the name. I didn't just see the caret, but they need to go in and clean up that data the next time they send this out. And the other thing I want you to notice on the lower email is that the first thing you read in the email preview before you've even clicked is it says, having trouble viewing this email, click here. That's not a really good teaser to get me to open the email. This is a standard mistake that we see a lot of. It's not really a mistake, but I don't like to see this because it doesn't tell you anything about the email. You're kind of wasting that opportunity to get people to open it. And we're going to see a lot more of those, actually.
Good catches.
All right, so you can create subject lines that are questions. Again, you're going to pique readers' curiosity by doing this. So ask a question in your subject line. Keep it short. And you can make it even more irresistible by hinting at the answer in the opening line. So here you can see in my examples, did you make this DSS mistake too? Dear Danielle, most clients have no idea what a big deal this is. Oh, well, I guess I better open that and see what that is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Here's my other example. Google or Bing? Very simple. Dear Bob, if you think the answer is Google, then this will surprise you. No? So again, two opportunities to get people's interest, that question, and then part of the answer in the body copy.
Yeah, remember, your stuff has got to stick out. They're getting, like,
counted.
hundreds and well, just like you get hundreds and hundreds of emails. You need to take the subject is the most important thing, and just what Danielle's pointing out, and the first line to get them engaged. You need to be different than all the other emails that are trying to distract them. All
right, listomania. People love lists, so make your email into a list and call that out in the subject line. Lists are very popular. I have a link down here at the bottom of the page, and we're going to send this presentation out when we're done. And I encourage you guys, if you have any interest in the psychology behind this, behind lists, great article in the New Yorker all about why our brains like things in list format. It's really fascinating. But basically, when you present information in a list format, it's very easy for people to digest facts. It's, you know, you're dealing with people who are overwhelmed. We're a fast food culture, fast food readers. They're used to getting information quickly and easily. When you put things in list format, you're going to be more likely to attract readers. So I love these examples here. Texas Lawyer Daily sent this out recently, and their subject line is 7 Lessons for Litigators in Game of Thrones. So not only do they have the list, but they have a very timely pop culture reference because we're coming up on the season finale of Game of Thrones. So that's an interesting one. The only thing they don't have is a little body copy under there, probably because of what they've got going on in the header of their email. Then we've got the IT White Papers folks. They've got 5 tech resources, and they use the phrase trending now. They've got a nice short subject, but they also create a little bit of a sense of urgency with trending now. So if this is your thing and you're interested in what's going on right now, you'd be more inclined to open this email. Now again, I want you to look at that preview where we see the HTTP and the link. However they have their body copy set up, this is the first thing I see in my preview. And you want to, again, please keep that in mind and test and see what the different email programs are showing for your emails, because they're wasting an opportunity here to get my interest. All right, location-specific subject line. So put your location. If you're marketing to people in your local market or in a specific geographic area, put the location in there. And so people will see this and they'll think, hey, it's relevant to me. I live here. And again, this is just another way to capture people's attention. And putting that location in there indicates information that may be useful to that person right then and there, because they're right there in that location. And the whole point here is the more that you can personalize the email, the better your open rate is going to be. So the example I give here is the 3 pet peeves of the Fairfax police. And hey, I'm in Fairfax. I don't want to get caught by the police. What 3 things can cause me to get a serious ticket while, all right. Location, location.
Yep. All right, now what? What do you do now that they open your email?
Yay, somebody opened my email because of all my awesome techniques. Now what?
It's a great graphic there.
All right, so how do you get people to click your links? So our first piece of advice, don't give it all up on the page. We keep saying this, don't write giant emails with all the information. Give people an idea of what you're going to give them, and then send a link back to the page. So I'm going to give you an example here of one of our emails that had our best open and click-through rate. And this was Hannah McNaughton. She had done a monthly content roundup. And you can see the description we had here. So we've got this wonderful picture of Hannah, who's a beautiful woman. And then we have a link back to our website. We just say right here, check out her blog post on our website. We tell you exactly what to do. And we had great click-through from this because it was a really interesting article. We explained what it was and told people to go check it out. So again, we didn't give there's nothing here about what content was great in April. All it is a link back to the website. This is how you want to do it. All right, so you've got links in your emails back to your website. You want to track this. If you don't put tracking URLs in those links, you will have no idea that those people click through from an email campaign. So here's how you do it. You've got to have Google Analytics set up for your site, and Analytics will actually tell you who is visiting your site from your email campaign if you set up this kind of tracking link. So I've given it, this is an example here of the link that was in the email we just showed you, and everything in red, you see there's all this gobbledygook at the end with the /?. We used the Google URL Builder to create this, and you can do this too. It's very easy. And we just use 3 things. We put in the source as our weekly newsletter. We put in the medium as email, because that's how it's being sent out. And then for the campaign, you can see we've got the date of the email. It went out on the 13th of May, 2014. So, and here's the link down here when you get this presentation. So what happens is that when you go into Google Analytics, and you can see here's how you get to it. You go to Acquisition on the left menu bar, click on Campaigns, and here you can see this is just an example of all the campaigns that we have in Analytics. And this is fantastic because now you can see all the people who visited your site, if they were first-time visitors or returning visitors, and you can also see how engaged they were on your website. You'll be able to check out how many pages they visited while they were there, and you'll be able to see the time that they spent on your site. So you'll be able to compare your different campaigns and see how engaged people are and how many people come visit. So this is a great way for you to measure the success of your campaigns against each other and see if you're getting better. So again, wonderful data. Make sure that you're using tracking URLs. And lastly, another way to measure success, I found a MailChimp study, and I've got the link here at the bottom of the page. And this just shows the average open rates and the average click-through rates for different types of businesses. So, whoa. So for law firms, the average open rate is about 21%. So of all those emails you send out, about 21% on average get opened if you're a law firm. And about 3.25% of the people will click through the links to your website. So this is a kind of a way you can compare yourself to every other firm out there and see if you can do better. If you're a doctor's office or a medical company, again, 22.75% open and about 3% click-through. And us poor marketing folks have the lowest, 18.8% and a 2.44% click-through. So again, a great way to measure yourself and see how you're doing against everybody else.
And that's it. So we got some questions, but I think we answered a lot of the questions during the course of the presentation. But there's a couple things, like Jonathan Cooper is asking if either Infusion or DSS has a share. I wanted to talk about that because, you know, we're really talking about email campaigns. And so what are you going to share the email? You know, if you want to, because you said specifically about your newsletter, well, where is your newsletter located? I mean, really what you're trying to do is get more people to be on your newsletter, to subscribe to your newsletter.
We can put together more about that, but if there's something interesting in the newsletter they wanted to share, I believe there's a way to do that.
Yeah, there's no automatic button that I know of that you can just, voila, there it is. But you can certainly add it in the content. But, I mean, that was a fantastic presentation, Danielle, on everything when it comes to back-end follow-up campaigns. Like I said, I think that we covered most of the questions. Kim, you had a lot of questions in there. So what I'd like you to do is take that big thing that you sent, and because it was kind of specific, and email it to us.
Well, we have this, so we can answer.
We got cut off. I think it like blew up the GoToMeeting QA. That was good stuff, Kim. And yeah, a lot of we can answer a lot of those questions. If anybody has needs further help with setting up your campaigns, we're here to help you. If you're using DSS, of course, if you're using Infusion, call them. They've got, actually, we just talked to somebody at Infusion, we met with them for an hour, and they were helping us out with some of our campaign builders. You know, DSS and the CRM in DSS is a very basic, easy-to-use program. You know, if you're just getting started with that, Constant Contact is another great system that we work with. You can use with your DSS or other website. That's another one that we've used in the past. It's a great program. And then, of course, Infusion, which is the Mac Daddy of all of the CRMs out there that has infinite power and capability that we love, and we use ourselves. And so any one of those programs will do you right. It just depends upon where you are and how much you need, how much power you need. But no matter what your program you're using, if you apply these principles to your ongoing follow-up campaigns, and once again, you know, like we said, you got to test this stuff. Don't just think that you're just going to write your book and then throw it up on your website and expect success. You need to be better. You need to have the slight edge better than everybody else. And so,
test.
Test.
Don't try like 3 of the ideas in this presentation and then declare it doesn't work. You need to keep trying. We're giving you ideas. You need to try different things and see what resonates with your crowd and with the folks who order your different offers. Yeah, we can't say test enough. I mean, we do this all the time, and we continue to, and we make mistakes, but we catch them when we're testing. No matter how many times you've built an email or how many times you've built a follow-up campaign, check your phone numbers. I don't care how many times you've written it down. Check it all the way through. Check your email. Check your vanity domain names that you're using to make sure that they're going to the right place. Check your forms. Check it all. Now, if you don't have any, if you don't have the ability to do resources, I mean, if you don't have the ability to do your own follow-up campaigns because you're too busy or you need help, we can certainly help you with that. We can write your offers. We can write your books for you, ghostwrite, do your landing page, write all your follow-up campaigns. We can do all that stuff for you. We have the resources all right here in the USA to help you out there, and we've done it for a lot of lawyers and doctors. Of course,
So give us a call if you need help with that. And then, of course, don't forget to put on your calendar and go here. Actually, the GLM conference, go on October 24th, 25th. We're going to be out there. Great Legal Marketing, Ben Glass and Ren Jackson, the whole crew. We got a lot of great speakers lined up. This is going to be a great year. Once again, an entire year planning for the summit, where it all culminates there in Arlington. We're very excited to be there. And then we're going to also, again, have our boot camp at the end of that. You don't need to go to the summit to go to the boot camp. You can just go right to the boot camp. And if you want information, you can just shoot us an email, and we'll get you information about it.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a Foster client to attend the boot camp either. We had such good reception last year that we have got a larger room, and we're planning to be able to support both clients and non-clients. So even if you just want to come check us out, we're there on October 26th. Like Tom said, you don't have to go to the GLM conference, and you don't have to be a client. So we definitely encourage you to come out to Arlington. It's going to be a great event. We're very excited about it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for attending the webinar. Danielle, thank you for putting it on. We will be adding, we'll be sending out an email tomorrow, will probably come out, with this presentation and a link to the webinar and a link to all the other webinars. So if you missed the how to create a landing page and offer page and all that stuff from last one, you can go check that out, because this is the series after that one. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of June. Enjoy the beautiful weather wherever you are. Hopefully it's beautiful weather, or the weather you prefer. And we'll see you next month. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.